Kelly, go, 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 Kelly, go, go, Kelly, go, 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 Kelly, go.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a smoky cut crease, and we're going to start off with applying our Revolution concealer in the shade C1. I've already applied a base to my eyelids, and I used my Juvia's Place foundation in the shade Rio. So we're just going to blend that out with a beauty blender, and we're going to go in with our Morphe 35M palette, and we're just going to take that deep orange reddish shade, and we're going to start to make a shape using that color. I'm just stamping the color on my eyelid just to create the shape that I want. And then I'm just going to blend that out. I did take a little minute to blend it out because I wanted to make sure that that was the shape that I wanted to do. So I did go back into the palette to add more color to deepen it, and then to go back in and blend it out. So now we're going to go in with a brush that has no product on it, and we're just going to continue to blend out the edges of the shade. And then we're going to go in with this orange shade from the same Morphe 35M palette, and we're just going to continue to blend out the edges of the first shade using this orange shade. Now we're going to go in with our Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette, and we're going to take this yellow orangish shade, and this will be our final transition shade that we use to blend out the edges. I wanted to make sure that the transition was seamless, and so that you didn't see any harsh lines whatsoever. And then I'm just going back in with the orange shade that we transitioned out with the first shade, and then I'm going to go back into the first reddish orange shade that we went into to deepen up the color even more. So now we'll be moving on to cutting the crease. I'm going to be using the same concealer that we used to put on our eyelids, and we're going to cut our crease. I have a flat brush from Morphe. I'm not sure what the number is, but it is a Morphe brush, and it's just a simple flathead, and we're just going to start to cut out our crease. I used the little trick where I put a little bit on my lid and look up, to just so that would be a guideline for me to use on how high up I should go with the cut crease. I'm just going to pat the product in and blend it out to make sure we get it all in the creases, because you do not want this to be creased at all. So we're just patting it out, and then we're just making sure that the edges of it are similar to the other eye. I tried to make it as close as possible, but my right hand is my dominant hand, and whenever I do the left side of my eyes, for some reason it never comes out to be exactly and precise as the right eye for my cut crease, as how high it should be. But I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to work on it. So now we're using the Revolution palette, and I'm just taking the white eyeshadow and we're just putting this on what we just cut our crease. And now we're going to go into the tannin shade, and we're just going to put that in the outer corner to make that a little bit darker, because we will be mixing the colors that we used before we cut our crease. So we're going in with that first shade that we used, the reddish orange shade, and we're just going to tap that onto the outer part of the cut crease that we made, and we're just going to come towards our inner crease just to blend out the edges of the concealer, of the cut crease that we use, just so there aren't any harsh lines. And you just want to blend that out just so it'll look real faded and seamless and real smoky. And so I'm going to use this brown shade, and we're just going to deepen up that reddish orange shade just a little bit, just to make it look a little bit more smoky. And this really tied the look all together once we applied this brown shade. And we just went up into our crease and we just blended that out. I wanted to make sure that the lines were very, very, very clean. And we just blended that out just to make sure there are no harsh lines. Y'all, I was feeling myself. I was really feeling this eye look. So now we're going to move on to the eyeliner. Eyeliner is still a little bit tricky for me with trying to make sure that they're even on both sides, but you know, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You have to do what you have to do. You just have, if you have to keep going back, then go back to make it as perfect as you want to. But I start on the outer corner of my eye and I just draw a line and then I just go across. And if I just so happen to go just a little bit higher whenever I'm going across my eyelid, I do tend to go back to the other side just to even it up. But I feel like this was pretty good. And then if one wing was a little bit more curvy than the other, then I just went in with a makeup wipe and just cleaned out the edges, and then just go back in and fix wherever it was needed. But I felt like the eyeliner really set this look. It really set this look. Alright, once we're done now, we're just going to move on to the mascara, and we're going to apply our lashes. I'm using Thrive Cosmetics, and this is in black, and I'm just putting an even coat on my lashes before I put on my fake lashes. And the lashes that I used, I got these from the beauty supply store and they were $2.99. Okay, balling on the budget. They still look cute. They looked real full, and it wasn't OD dramatic. It was just what I needed to make this look stand out. And I do have a more detailed tutorial on how I applied my lashes on my channel. So now we're going to start on the face. Okay, so this is my new foundation routine. Okay, and we're starting off with the Black Radiance Corrector. And I'm just applying that on the dark spots on my face. And then we're going to use a stipple brush and we're just going to blend that out on the skin. This is just so you won't see the discoloration in my face, because I have a lot of dark marks on my face from a bad breakout that I had 2 years ago. So we're just going to blend that out all over. And then once this is blended out, we're going to go in with our translucent powder from e.l.f. and we're just going to put that all over where we applied the corrector, just so it doesn't move when we apply our foundation. So now we're going to be going in with my Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 355 Coconut. And we're going to apply that with a brush and put it all over our face. I wanted to first start off with building it up just to see if I needed any more. I didn't want it to be full coverage, but just enough as to where it wouldn't look so cakey after I applied everything on my face. I wanted to use a beauty blender just so there weren't any brush marks on my face after applying the foundation. So I just used the beauty blender to blend everything out so it would look even and bomb. So here's the new thing that I started doing with my foundation. I started putting a lighter foundation underneath my eyes, on my forehead, my nose, my cupid's bow, and my bottom chin. And I felt like this helped when I started to put on my concealer, and the colors would transition all together. So this was a good step that I included into my foundation, because before you could see my foundation that I applied first and then my concealer. And even though I would try so hard to blend out the edges, you could still see where I applied the concealer. So that really annoyed me. So I'm glad that I started doing this, and you guys you will see in a minute exactly how this step has helped my life. It has helped my life a lot. And I'm just going to go in with my Real Techniques brush. I love this brush. I need to get a couple more. I love this brush with blending out my concealer and my foundation. Love it. But you're going to see how this helped me once I started to put on my concealer. So I'm just going to blend out everything, and then the next step you'll see me applying my concealer. And you can see, if I can, I will insert a picture on what my face looked like before I started using this technique. So now we're going to go in with our Revolution concealer, and this is in the shade C12. And I was going to go a little bit darker with the concealer, like a 12.5 or 13. But after I started this new technique, I was like, no, I'm going to just keep the C12 because it just makes my under eye look brighter and my whole face just looks snatched. Now to set everything into place, we're going to be using our BellaPierre Banana Setting Powder. And we're just going to put that everywhere that we put our foundation and concealer. And this is going to make our under eye just a little bit brighter, but not too bright as to where you would get flashback when you take a picture. So we're going to set this underneath our eyes, on our nose, our forehead. And all of this is still with the same beauty blender that we use to blend out our foundation, just so everything will tie in together. And I especially put the setting powder around my nose because that's where I get the most oily first, so that would keep everything locked in. Now we're using our Maybelline Superstay foundation powder. This is in the same shade as my foundation, 355 Coconut. And we're just going to set the outer part of our face just to make sure that that foundation does not move at all. So pretty much, you know, setting your face keeps everything in place. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Because I am a person that if I like drink and I start to like sweat a little bit, like my whole face will look like it's melting off. Or just in like a hot setting, it will look like your face is literally melting. So I highly recommend that everybody sets their face. So now I'm going to be using our Black Radiance contour palette, and I'm going to be using the Sculpt shade, and I'm just going to put that to carve out my cheekbones and put it on my forehead and underneath my chin to get rid of that double chin. Okay, we only want one chin, not two chins. And then I'm going to go in with an angle brush and just blend all of that out. I did go a little bit dark on my cheeks, but I do go in with a beauty blender, the same beauty blender that I use for my foundation, and we're just going to blend that out just a little bit, just so it's not as dark or as harsh. And I'm just going to go back in with my same angle brush and to continue to blend that upward towards the cheeks to give you a little bit more definition. But always, if you ever go too dark, just go in with a beauty blender, a wet beauty blender, or go back in with your foundation brush that you use to set your face. And I'm just going to carve out using my e.l.f. translucent powder just to give more of a definition for the contour that we put on our cheeks. And then I'm going to blend that out with our brush that we put our foundation powder on, just so everything blends in together. And we're doing our nose. I love a snatched nose. My nose isn't huge, but I do have a button nose, so I do like to carve it out and make sure it looks real slim. And I'm just setting the outer part once again to give that contour on the nose just a little bit more definition. And we're still using our e.l.f. translucent powder. And I don't let it sit for too long on my face, because once again, we don't want any flashback from when we take pictures. You see how good my face looks? Like, it looked so bomb. I love this new routine that I'm doing. I love it. Just so our face doesn't look all powdery, I'm going to go in with my Mario spray. This is the Rosewater. It's pink in a bottle. It costs, like the size bottle that I have, it costs $7, but the bigger size is $12. And that's just going to melt everything into the skin just so it doesn't look all powdery. And I'm going to be going in with our blush palette from Juvia's Place, the Saharan Volume 2. And we're going to be taking the brown shade and the pinkish shade and just mix those two together. And I love how that came out on my cheeks. My face was still a little bit damp, which was really good because it really set that powder and melted into the skin. It looked really good. And I'm going in with my highlighter from my Revolution Pro HD highlighter palette. And this was the gold shade. I want to say this was, I don't even remember the name of it, but I'll have it in the description box below. So I'm just applying that to my cheeks, my nose, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit on the top of my lip. Oh, and when I put highlighter on my nose, I don't do like the whole line going down the nose. I put a little bit at the tip of my nose and then a little bit in the bridge. I never go all the way down because you can see that whole line. I hate when people do that. And if you put too much, just blend it out with your finger to stamp it in so it can blend more into the skin. We give my eyebrows just a little moment. Like, they look so good. But now we're going to be going in with a lip liner. This lip liner is from She Believes by Jazz Cosmetics. And this is in the shade Mocha. And we're just going to line my lips. I'm actually overlining my lips. As of recently, I've had this obsession with overlining my lips to make them just a little bit more plump. And you can really tell the difference from when I regularly line my lips and when I overline my lips. And this shade wasn't too dark or wasn't too light. It was just right. And then we're going to be going in with her lip gloss. And this is in Papaya Whip. And this lip gloss is like a nude shade. It looks real like peachy in the bottle, but when you put it on, it's like a nude. This is like so bomb. This tied everything together and it looked really good. My face looks so good. Oh my gosh. I was super proud of this moment, but you're about to see me transition. Sis, I was popping, okay? I was popping. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Join the K gang. And I love you all. Thank you for watching. Bye.